For the past week, I've been out here just picking away every night, trying to get a little bit done here and there. It's starting to come together, starting to look like a Jeep again. Got the whole core support back on. Today I'm going to go underneath and finish up my tranny cooler lines. Finish up my transmission cooler lines. That's one project I have. Got the battery bracket all done, put in here. I made a bracket for the distribution blocks up here. It's going to make it a lot easier to wire in all the accessories instead of just doing it off of the single post. I'll have this to go to. It's a pretty simple setup, just made out of some 1/8 inch aluminum. I have the heater lines done, all ready to go. I just spliced into the factory ones and got some new hoses to go down to the water pump. I put the AC lines in. I haven't bolted them in or anything. I just mocked them up into place. I ended up, because everything sat around for so long, I lost a gasket. I'll have to order a new one of them. Not a big deal. It's a problem with projects taking this long. Sometimes you end up misplacing parts, which it doesn't help that I had to move shops in the middle of all this. So it's still a mess in here. I don't have quite the storage I used to, but I'm working on that. Hopefully get a storage container soon enough. So all this stuff over here can be cleared out of the garage and I have more room to work. But today I'm just gonna keep going at some odds and ends. I'm gonna finish wiring in the wiring harness. I just gotta button this up. These need to be tied into this connector. So I'll have to splice in some wires. Then all that will be done. I got a couple connections to finish up here to get the entire electrical system done. So I got my ground to the engine. I'm gonna put a ground from here to probably to the stud right here on the body. And then everything should be really well grounded. But a couple things to finish up there, and then all the wiring's done. Again, I need to finish up the bracket here for the air filter. I don't know if I'm even gonna worry about that today because I want to get underneath the Jeep and start tying up all the loose ends under there. I still got a couple bolts I need to tighten for the transfer case. So that's probably where I'm gonna start today. All right, see how this works. Yep. Oh, okay. Okay. We'll try this one more time. It's got to be close. Takes a lot of transmission fluid. There we go. Okay. There we go. So if anybody's ever looking for a simple solution to put fluids in a transfer case, these Motive products, this is actually a bleeder for a brake booster or master cylinder, but they make one that actually is for putting fluids in something like a transfer case. It's got a metal spout on the end. I recommend putting a ball valve in it so you can turn it off when it's full. You don't have to worry about it continually spitting out fluid, but this thing worked great. I'm going to keep this around for filling transfer cases with ATF at least. It's also really good for this one because the way my dipstick is for the transmission, it's not very easy to get to. So I'll just keep using this to fill the transmission and transfer case on this thing. I'll keep it around. All right, got the AC lines all buttoned up, other than the one gasket I'm missing. Placed an order for that. That'll show up later this week and I'll get that finished. Got everything hooked to my compressor. I got my lower AC or lower radiator hose done up. So I'm really buttoning up everything under the hood. A couple small things to finish up under here and I'm done under the hood. So right now I'm gonna finish up my transmission cooler lines. I think that's next step for me. Get that taken care of today. Just starting to pick through all the little projects. Well, I picked away at the projects on my list. I got a lot of the wiring done. Not the cleanest, but it's a tight fit to try and get everything in here, and I have a lot of things wired in. So I ended up getting this all wired up. I still have some grounds to do, and I'll have to hook up my winch power wires to this, but I got plenty of studs for that. I'm not too concerned. Over here on this side, I got all the connectors, all the wires wired up into this connector for the factory ECU. So this side is completely done. There's nothing else I need to do on the driver's side, which is kind of nice. So underneath I measured for drive shafts. I'll be able to get them sent out and have them modified. I got some good Tom Woods drive shafts in this thing already. So the back one I just need to shorten. The front one I'll need to get a new tube for. But that's not a big deal for the local drive shaft place. But picking away at the list. Hopefully soon I'm going to hear this thing run. But for now, I've had enough. It's almost 7 o'clock at night. I'm ready to go in and have some supper. I just got the air filter bracket done for the most part. I got to remake one side of it, but that's not a big deal. Today I'm starting on the exhaust. I bought a kit for this, a 3-inch exhaust kit, but it comes from the 2.5 factory exhaust and steps up to 3. Well, I'm going with 2.5 from the manifolds to the collector now, since I'm putting the LS engine in it. So I had to cut off the 2.5-inch little adapter here. I cut it back and TIG welded this collector on. So I got to start TIG welding more. I'm really rusty. I haven't done much of any of it for over a year now, which is kind of crazy. So I got to get back on and get a bunch more practice in. My weld looks terrible, but it's exhaust, it'll hold. I'm not too concerned about that. So now that I have that, I'll be able to put the rest of the exhaust on the back. So under here, I'll put my muffler up and all the other pipes and get them started so I know where the front half of my exhaust needs to end up, and then I'll build back to that. Alright, so this exhaust kit is not going to work the way it sits. There's no way. I mean, I'm right on my track bar already. So I'm going to have to take and redo a section back here, because I want this tube up real tight to here. So what I'm going to have to do, so probably have to cut it back here, and I'll cut this one up here so I could slide this whole thing up, and I'll weld it, and then I'll just have to make a piece to go in between. This shouldn't be too difficult. I mean, it goes up around the axle nicely, just not around my track bar. Man, I need to clean this up under here. This thing is looking terrible. Alright, but yeah, the other problem I'm having is there's no way I'm going to leave this exhaust tip hanging out like that. That is just a poor design, if you ask me. So I'm probably going to take and cut this off. I'll just cut it at an angle back here and use that as a turn down and call it a day, because yeah, this is, I'm going to smash that shut on rocks without a question. So for now, I'm just going to leave this under here because I can build the front half. So me up here. Maybe I pull my rear axle in a little bit. I don't like that. Well, no matter what, that track bar is not going to work. But up here, this lands in a good spot right there, but the back half of it doesn't. So I need to have it tucked up tighter. Oh, I like where this is. So I'll take and put this next pipe on and get to this hanger, and then my collector should sit right in here somewhere. I'm gonna go do that. All right, under the Jeep here, I got this collector put in. I had to cut off the hanger, which wasn't gonna work anyways. What I might have to do, I might just cut this hanger off the frame and move it back slightly and down so I can weld this in here. Actually, I'll move it up because I want to get this up here. So what I might do is I might just stick a block in here, space it off about a ½ inch would be more than enough. Maybe go up a little bit more. Maybe I'll go up an inch and let the weight pull down on it, but get this above the cross member so I can run the front half of the exhaust. I'm more concerned about getting the front half done right now, because then I can actually fire this thing up. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll just put a block in here and clamp it in place to hold this where I want it, and then I'll figure out the hangers later. This one isn't going to work, but I have more of this material to make a hanger, so if I have to just redo this, I can. Which what I'll probably do is just redo the part that welds onto the exhaust, because right now I need it up quite a bit. So I mean, that isn't going to work. Honestly, I would want it to probably come out, actually drop down, and then wrap around. But I'm gonna just put a block in here, hold it in place, and then build the front half so I can fire this thing up. I gotta figure out how to come from my collectors up there. You can't really see. You can see this one. So I got my manifold there, and I got manifold there. So I'll bring the passenger side down, bring it down across here. Ain't gonna work because I got my drive shaft. Well, maybe I can bring it down through here. Bring it through here and over, and I'll move my collector back. All right, I guess I got a good idea where my target is, so I'm just gonna start getting my exhaust run through here and see what works best before I finalize anything, because I might want to bring that exhaust, might want to bring the exhaust right through here and under the transfer case instead of under the transmission, since I gotta avoid that. I should take and put this at full bump, take the shock or the springs out in order to build this, because that way I know all my clearances in the worst case scenario. So what you want to do for exhaust is you want to build it all the way down so you know you clear everything at the worst case scenario. So I'll probably be popping out the springs front and rear, let this thing sit down on the ground, just on the bump stops, and then I can build this front half of the exhaust and get it into this collector. I don't know if I'm going to keep, let's see if I do this, I don't know if I'm going to keep the collector right up here or if I'm going to move it back to this section. We'll see whatever works best, because I got my drive shaft has to sit in here. Yeah. This is where I wish I could pull the body off and work on this, because it would be a lot easier with the body off. There's a lot of things about this swap that are a lot easier with the body off. I understand why that's the recommended method. It's just not everybody has that ability, but crawling around on the ground like this is not fun. All right, that gets me a direction to head in. So while I'm under here, so I built my transmission shift bracket. Well, that popped off. I might need a new cable. Yeah, I'm gonna probably need a new cable. That's great. But I built my bracket for my transmission shifter, put that in here. I had to take the oil pan off. I'm going back to the factory one. It gives me plenty of clearance anyways, so I'll go back to the factory one. I could not get the dipstick to fit. It's kind of crazy that's what's the hang up, but I cut the windage tray to fit that other oil pan. It's a Holley oil pan, high clearance oil pan. Really nice, but I'll end up using it in another Jeep, and since I already had the engine in here, I couldn't fit the dipstick because there just isn't enough room. So instead of fighting with that, I'm just going back to the factory. The factory dipstick fits just fine. It just wouldn't show the correct level on that new oil pan. So I got a new windage tray coming that I'll bolt in, get the oil pan bolted back up this week, and then I can fill that with fluids and I'll be done. So I'm really close to firing this thing up. I get the oil pan in, fluids done, get this exhaust done, my O2 sensors put in. That's what these are. I got these wires hanging for O2 sensors, and then I just need a tank pressure sensor, and I can actually run this thing. But since this little clip is going bad, I'm probably going to order a new shift cable. It's always something. You're always waiting on more parts. I've taken a couple weeks off, just busy with work and other things. Ended up going to the Crandon World Championship race in Crandon, Wisconsin. That was a lot of fun. Watched the Ultra 4 cars out there. Man, I really want to put together an Ultra 4 car. I'm hoping I can put one together and start racing in about 2 years, but I'm still working out some details on that, trying to get that going. But today I'm back in the garage. I'm working on finishing up my exhaust. I got the driver's side ready to go in. I got to finish up the passenger side. So I'll keep plugging away at this, and hopefully within about a week to 2 weeks, I can have this buttoned up, because I'm very close. I got a really short list of things to finish up. So I finish up the last few things I got, I can fire this thing up. The exhaust is the main thing I have to get done. Problem is, the kit I bought back here where the rear axle goes does not have the room I need to clear the track bar. That's all right, this is all custom, so I can't fault the kit, but I got a couple 45-degree bends. I should be able to get it tucked up nice enough to clear that and use this kit. The muffler is not as big as I was hoping, so it's probably going to be fairly loud. If it's too loud, I'll replace it with a bigger muffler. It's not a big deal. The only thing I really didn't like about the kit is I really don't like the tip sitting here. So I'm going to end up cutting that off and keeping it tucked up so it doesn't get smashed by rocks. Other than that, it's just finish the front half. Right now I got to work at getting it around the transfer case, in between the transfer case and the gas tank. That's a nice tight fit. So as you can see, I don't have much room. Try and get it. I'm gonna grab a flashlight. All right, so now, as you can see, my hand's right there. There's not much room to get a pipe through here. So what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna cut the skid plate here, because I have about 3 inches here in the back, 2.5, 3 inches, that I can push this over. I got an Artex skid plate to replace this, so I'm not worried about strength or anything. I just need a little bit of clearance, because this doesn't give me enough room to get an exhaust pipe through here very easy. So moving that over about 2 inches will give me plenty. I'm going to use it as a heat shield to shield the gas tank, but that's about it. So next step, I'm going to get the driver's side pipe put in. I got my Y pipe right there. Got put the driver's side pipe in, get my O2 sensors in place, weld in the bungs for that, and get that whole side complete. Then it's just building right across here on the transfer case. Up to here, I already got the pipe started up here to clear the upper link. So I'll keep plugging away. So the best way I've found to keep a nice straight cut on a round tube is just stick a piece of tape around the whole thing. You take your time, you can get it pretty darn straight by just doing that. So I marked it where I wanted it, ran my tape around, made sure it matched up on the other side. You can't really see that, but made sure it matched up on the other side. Then you should have a really nice straight cut. You just, when you use your cutoff wheel, make sure not to take out the tape and you'll be fine. There we are. Well, there it is. Driver's side is done. Now time to move on to the passenger side. That's annoying. All right. So I'm under the Jeep. I got the driver's side exhaust all done. I got the O2 sensors put in. Go to plug them in. And it's the same connector. From the harness, it's got a male connector, and the O2 sensor has a male connector. Looking it up, that's the way all the O2 sensors are for this year. So I don't know what they expect me to use. There's nothing in the manual. I'm gonna have to contact the company and ask them what's going on with this, because I'm just finding a lot of things with this harness that are really getting frustrating and not working. I mean, this, I don't know what they're doing here, because why would you use a different O2 sensor than what comes in for this engine? Because this is the same O2 sensor for all the LQ4s and LQ9s. It comes with a male connector. Then the harness should have a female. So I'm gonna have to contact the company that made the harness and see what to do about this.